And we are live. Good morning,
Good morning, Scott. How are you, sir?
Mr. Wallace, Captain
Yeah,
Wallace.
for the members, if you're listening in, right? Scott just kind of threw out before we went live here. He goes, "Yeah, and I have a surprise for you. Let's go live." So I have no idea what you're thinking about, right?
Here we
So
go.
yeah,
I think you'll like
always
this.
exciting.
I just want to know. I got a quick question for you.
Sure.
Where's my present screen thing? Hold on. Share screen.
Curious minds want to know.
Yeah, this one. Is this you?
Uh,
Lieutenant Mike Wallace.
wow.
I found it on I was looking for a photo because I thought, you know what, I was making the thumbnail for the show
Yeah.
episode. I thought it'd be cool to have a photo of you in uniform to kind of relate to a little bit what the show's about. So I just happened to Google to see if anything popped up, but this isn't the only thing that popped up.
Uh-oh. Now you're scaring me.
No. That's all good stuff. It's just
No. No.
I found.
And again, just getting back to what we were chatting about before we just kind of jumped into this, right? And for the audience, before we get into the discussion, right? Scott and I kick these things around, but I was just letting him know that, hey, we're back in New York City Fleet Week.
Right.
Oh my gosh.
No, so I thought it was fun. Yeah, I just found, it's like
Wow.
everybody knows you out of uniform. Like I've never met you while you were active duty, so it's just a little fun for me. We don't have to necessarily play the video. You're just talking about the experience here, but you were just sharing with me that hey, you're getting back into the beekeeping business,
Sure.
and I was like, oh, cool. Tell me about that. I'm super curious about things like raising chickens and all that kind of stuff, and
it's a good side gig. It's a little bit of a side hustle, kind of a fun hobby to have, right? And so my bride Michelle and I, we've been kind of messing around with this for really coming up on a couple of years now, and it's a lot more to it, right? You just got these bees, you shove them in a box, and most of the time you just kind of let them do their thing, but every once in a while, there's a little bit of care and feeding required, right, on it. And just for the record, Michelle's never been stung. I've been stung a lot, right? So, I mean, if you get into taking care of bees, I guess that's one of the hazards you just have to kind of wrestle with. But no, we're back into it. Our bees last spring kind of swarmed, and we were out of it for a little while. They kind of left us, but now we've got a new what's called a nuke, and man, they're hard at it. Couple of nice days, and dude, they're already out there just working hard and bringing it in. And in fact, I've got to check them here in a couple of days. This time of year, you don't leave them unattended very long. They really start to explode pretty quick, right? So you got to give them room to kind of expand into.
How long does it take till you get the honey?
Depending on really, the environmental conditions and kind of where you have them immersed and what they have available to them. But I mean, these bees, we'll let them work hard, all, summer, right up into probably September timeframe. And then we'll make a quick assessment, right? Hey, do you have enough honey stores, right, to winter over, right? They've got to have through the winter. But if there's a little bit available out there, you might be able to take a little bit, right? As long as you're not cutting into, what they need to winter over. So, but yeah, we'll be in it. In fact, next time I see you, Scott, I'll bring you in a jar of honey. Last harvest we did last fall, right? I've still got a little bit.
Okay, good. It's funny because I'm mostly carnivore, or whatever you want to call it, but
yeah, as you got back from your meat run, right, the other day.
Animal based is really the idea.
There you go.
And so there you go. Honey is animal based, I think.
Yeah. So for anybody just dialing in first time and just kind of listening into this conversation, hey, this is an environmental kind of thing. This we get into a lot of interesting topics for military and transition, right? Other than just like our hobbies, right?
Because it's all relevant because we're trying to think about, all right, what am I going to do with my time when I'm out of the military? The word retirement is always got this sense
Yeah.
of, what do I do next, or what am I going to do when I retire? And usually that means golfing or something like that. Like when we talk about real retirement,
Yeah.
but
Maybe Scott
military,
Thurman's listening in. It'd be a little fly fishing, golfing, right? Raising bees, whatever you want to do, right?
there you
So there's
go.
some
There you
fun
go.
stuff out there.
But speaking of needing to find things to do, let me share a quick clip, and then we're going to go into watch the full
Okay.
video. Here we go. So here's the moral of today's story. Let me know if this audio works.
Your job.
Whoop. Start over. Short clip. Here we go.
Yep.
By the way, AI is not going to take your job. Somebody who understands AI is going to take your job. Just get good at it. That's, by the way, AI is not going to take your job. Somebody who understands AI is going to take your job. Just get good at it.
And that's it. Like this is Scott Galloway.
Yeah.
I was joking. I'm not a super fan of his one way or the other. Just I know he's one of those voices that's always on TV, or he's got a podcast and talks about the economy and stuff. And so I had a friend of mine send me this video because he talks about all things in the economy. But the section he talked about on AI, it's about a 4-minute clip. I thought we'd watch through and pause kind of as needed. But Mike, you want to set the stage a little bit?
Yeah, that teaser that you just threw out there for 10 seconds or whatever, we are spending a lot of time thinking about that, even here in the blue water ecosystem, right? I love that we were so agile that we could move quick and put together content and start to put out insights and advice to our members, right? But there's a little bit of truth to that. It's like, hey, AI is not going to take your job. Those who master that skill, right, to their benefit, right, are going to. And there's a lot of truth to that, right? So yeah, maybe we can put the link to the clip in there for the members to kind of check out as they have time. But yeah, I'd like to listen to the rest of that. That's a good, man. We could dive into that for sure. Right? Yeah, we're seeing use of AI in career progression and transition. We're seeing a lot of it, right? There's a ton of stuff out there, and we've already turned on so much content and so much insight. Because we want to share that with our members as quick as what we can, Scott, right? Because we're seeing so much of this. You might have seen the posting that I shot out just the other day, as a matter of fact. Well, I'd have to look at Buffer, right? I think it went out the other day. It might be up to go out today or tomorrow, as a matter of fact. But the gist of the article was, where do we see this AI? I'll call it an infatuation. Or where do we see this AI? These new tools driving us. And think about it this way. Companies really embraced AI early on, right? I mean, think about it. If you're a company and you're receiving hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of resumes as individuals are applying for jobs, that's a lot of man hours, right? That's got to go in there and screen these resumes. That was a very man hour intensive effort. But now with AI, there's program and there programs that go in and screen, right? Applicant tracking systems that screen people's resumes, and they assess based on the position description and this resume. There's a confidence score, right? And we think that there's so much percentage of a match, and if you don't score high enough in that comparison, done by the applicant tracking system, you're likely kicked out of the system, and no human being's going to look at your resume again, right? And we've done tutorials and workshops on this. But look at it this way. Companies are using this, right, this tool, and so to stay more competitive and to be, to score high enough, what are job seekers doing? Well, we're now going to tools like ChatGPT and SkillSync and JobScan and Grammarly and all these tools that are going to allow me to target my resume to a position description such that I know in advance, right, how compatible I am. And if I achieve a high enough score, then I'll apply. And so at the end of the day, think about it. You know, the job seekers' use of AI is going to battle with the company's use of AI. And pretty soon it's just AI going against AI. And I don't want to, you know, claim fame or anything, but Steve Weeman and I had this discussion, right? Who's a career progression consultant with Blue Water. We had this conversation, months and months ago. And we said, we predicted what AI is going to drive eventually is going to be the need to come back together for human interaction, right? Because I think companies are going to get this, job seekers are going to get this, and pretty soon your AI is just battling this AI. And really, you know, what's the important thing we're trying to get at here? Hey, I want to just have a conversation with you. I want to know who you are, right?
Yeah.
I want to know if you're a good fit. I want to learn more about you. And really, the only way I'm going to be able to do that is kind of like what we're doing now, right? We're talking, we're having a conversation, right? I think that is going to drive the AI and the explosion of it. I think it's ultimately, we may not be there yet, but ultimately, I believe it's going to push us all back together, right? So for everybody out there networking and relying on these human skills, don't throw in the towel on that. Don't walk away from it, right? It's still a contact sport. It's still all about networking. Meet people, find your champion on the inside, work that. But at the same time, Scott, we do recognize AI is a powerful tool. Use it, but I wouldn't be wholly reliant upon it. Does that make sense? I mean, use it with a bit of knowledge and a little bit of caution, right? Don't let it craft you into something that you're not personally. You know, have it, you know, augment and accentuate, you know, your goodness and help you align where you are aligned, if that makes sense. Right?
No, that's a great way to frame a relevant use case scenario. But what I think we're going to learn from this video is that this is just barely getting our toenail wet.
I know.
And so it's framing it. And what he's going to talk about in this video is the bigger picture of what's going on in the economy with AI. And I thought, oh, that's also relevant in this part of the discussion, because we can use it for the job search process as a way to start to learn these skill sets or what this thing even is or how it's going to apply. But let's see what this guy's got to say, and I'll pause it when we got some thoughts.
I like it.
But, all right, here we go. So he's talking about a bunch of things in this talk, kind of jumps around a little bit, but for the next few minutes, it's still relevant to AI.
Not to say it's not going to be a big part of the economy, but the valuations have gotten very, very frothy. I also think if last year was Star Wars in the world of AI, this year is The Empire Strikes Back. Specifically, I think Alphabet is going to catch up in AI this year. Alphabet is the perfect example of the innovator's dilemma. The majority of IP around AI was actually invented at Google, but because they didn't want to do anything that threatened this $180 billion toll booth called search, they were slow and they were flat-footed. I think they are going to catch up because they have the ultimate data to feed into their LLMs, and that is they have your email, they have your calendar, and they have your YouTube viewing patterns. I think the majority of AI's real benefits are going to be in boring things. When it says, oh, we see in your calendar you're going to Hamburg. We know what hotel you like to stay at. We know what airline you like to fly. And Gemini will start speaking to other Gemini-enabled AI bots and make your life just much easier in a very mundane but a very powerful way. And
right there, mundane but powerful way. It's the mundane. So the two things he said there. One, Google, the ultimate company that could never go wrong. They own and control everything. Like overnight, they were like, uh-oh, even though they were doing it. And then there's all these different, whether it's ChatGPT, OpenAI, or some of the other stuff out there. There's now a kind of new landscape of chaos where there's no precedent. So think about when the personal computers came out. I think he even talks about that in a second. You know, that's what I'm seeing for the military retiree who is used to entering an environment where, how's that phrase go? We got to stop fighting today's wars with yesterday's technology, or stop
Yeah.
fighting yesterday's wars with today's technology, something like that.
Yeah.
But
it's all applicable. Yeah.
and so, what do we say? We always adapt. We go in fighting, in the first round, and then we adapt and do all this cool stuff and change to small unit tactics or use drones or whatever it might be. And so this is happening in the corporate world. So is that not an advantage?
Yeah, this is as to use a military term, right? A revolution in military affairs, right? This is going to change the landscape, in so many different ways. And, to your point, hey, we're just sticking our toe in the water here. We do a section on our career progression cohorts, right? And we talk about social media, and we talk about the importance of building your brand, right? When you're stepping into transition, and how do you do that? And what are some of the tools available for you to do that? And, some of our members, and listen, I'll throw myself into this. I was social media averse, right? When I was wearing the uniform, right? When I was CAG 3 or even a squadron CO or finishing my time as chief of staff at Air Land, like I did not have a social media presence. And by design, I did not want to give the world that access to me. And a lot of our members are new to stepping into, social media and building their brand. And a lot of them go, hey, Mike, I'm not really into building a brand. I don't, I'm not into, liking people and doing Facebook friends and all this stuff and LinkedIn, and again, truth in advertising. I'm not saying that you have to have a LinkedIn, profile page or an active account to get a job. But do we think you are at some disadvantage if you don't have that? I absolutely do believe that. Right. And I go all the way back to when I was a hiring manager, right? When I would look at people, and once, their resume screening and everything is in the keep pile, where's the next place I wanted to go, Scott? I always wanted to go to social media because I wanted to learn. I wanted to feel that connection. I wanted to reinforce, what I was seeing here with, a social media brand, right? A presence, right? And if I couldn't find that, did that mean that I wasn't going to hire that? No, probably not. But was I frustrated, right? And was I slow to build that situational awareness on what kind of a fit I think this person could make? Absolutely. So, we really do encourage our members to some degree to start to build their brand, right? I think ChatGPT and just that segment you played right there, think about this. ChatGPT is almost going to build a social media brand for everybody, whether you want it or not, right? And that's the point we tease out for a lot of members that are out there saying, well, I don't think I want to step into this world. I don't think I want to do. Listen, you can step into the world and take control of it, or trust me, you're going to be in the world and it's going to drive some outcome for you. Think about this. Everybody knows if you've got an iPhone, how many of you get in your car in the morning and your iPhone just kind of wakes up and says 22 minutes to the office? Well, how do you know I'm going to the office? Because it knows your patterns, right? It tells you what it thinks you want to know. Yeah. That's tracking you on social media. If you have a car that has voice, Bluetooth audio, or any of this kind of stuff, the car is listening to you, right? And in many instances, that data is accessible by other people, right? If you're carrying a phone around with you, people in the military, we get that. There's a reason we don't let these devices into certain spaces, right? Because you are integrating and actively participating in that world. And for the members out there that say, hey, look, Mike, I don't want to play in the social media world. I want to have a brand. Here's the big takeaway. Here's what I want everybody to understand. You are the product, and these are the tools people are using to find you in your next success in life. Mm-hmm. Let me just let that sink in. You're the product, and the talent acquisition managers, right? The recruiters, the hiring managers out there, these are the tools they're going to use to find you. If you are not discoverable in this world with these tools, are you at a disadvantage yet? Does that mean you will not get a job? No, that's not what I'm trying to say, right? Do we think you're at a disadvantage? I do, right? I personally believe that, right? So anyway, I just think it's an interesting revolution in affairs, right? Technology affairs with this tech online, how it's going to be used.
And that's where it actually ties into personal branding, because if you can just make it aware that you're someone that's becoming more aware of all these tools and how to apply them, there's going to be a company out there who's looking for somebody who's like, hey, somebody know what's going on with this stuff. I don't have time for it. That's really what it comes down to. I don't have time to learn this thing and see how it would apply. But anyways, let's see what else he's got to say here.
Yeah.
And Alphabet has the most proprietary data set of any LLM out there, and I think they'll start to leverage that this year.
Alphabet data, like Google's data. You're exactly right. They know emails, they know calendars, and then I saw
they know
a podcast.
Your search history. They know what you're plugged into. Listen, this is coming to life, and if you don't think that it's not going to be a part of your social media brand, I personally think, right, you're just kind of walking around with blinders on, right? So
I saw a podcast the other day where a guy explained how data brokers work and how any company can just go to China and buy essentially the OPM data they scraped years ago from everybody. Anyways.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, productivity has been steadily going down. I believe that it's counterintuitive that rich people and corporations want you to believe that low tax rates result in higher productivity. They don't. I believe it's higher tax rates result in greater productivity, because if a firm is losing 50 cents on the dollar distributing it out to shareholders, the hurdle rate for projects internally, investments, is lower, so they put more money into plant, property, and equipment. When taxes are low, in the US, corporate tax rates are the lowest they've been since 1939. Corporations have a memory and try and shove as much money out of the company. And the hurdle rate to invest in other projects gets higher and higher because they know tax rates are low, so it's a good time to distribute money out to shareholders. The result is productivity has declined, as has innovation.
I want to leave that.
Yeah. No, I just want to say this just real quick, right? I would love to have a conversation with this guy, right? Productivity has declined. Think about the mass exodus, right? During COVID, everybody was working from home. And now corporations, right? The workforce wants to work from home in many instances, right? And what have we seen over the last 12 months? A lot of companies trying to claw back that presence, right, in the workspace. And because for a lot of reasons, right? People we interact and we riff differently, right? When we're out of the work environment, right? And and we're starting to see that there is a benefit to bringing people together in an office environment, right? To force that interaction, to achieve those common goals and deliver those results, right? And I think people just by nature, and I would challenge him on this point, maybe it doesn't have everything to do with tax rates, right? I would think, what's happening with your workforce? Well, they've all gone home.
Yeah.
Everybody just wants to do work from home. And now companies are trying to bring them back because I think largely they are seeing impact to this. And so, I think
they're going
to, right? They need to get their head around this. I think 24/7 work from home, never going to the office at all. I think those opportunities are starting to kind of shift back, right? We still do have some members that are stepping into, their next success. And there is a portion of that is work from home, right? But we're also starting to see that shift where companies pushed everybody out. Now they're starting to try to pull them back in, right?
Yeah. And I think I'd have to look deeper into exactly what he's talking about with the taxes there. I think he was just trying to make a general point. What I would say with that is clearly the economics of a company, there are going to be a lot of variables that are going to affect, what they're hiring and what they're paying. On the other side of that is, while he was saying, corporate taxes are at all-time lows, so is personal taxes.
Sure.
And so all this stuff is going to impact lifestyle. We're talking about saving money, saving time, whether it's tax,
right?
all saving time is time is money. It's all efficiency, right? And so that's kind of where this AI thing comes into it.
On most levels, we see electricity prices coming way down. But meanwhile, the area that is going to be the most disruptable area, at least in the United States, the most disruptable industry in the world is US healthcare. US healthcare could best be described as a lot of people describe San Francisco right now, and that is it is expensive but bad. In the US, we spend double the per capita amount on healthcare, and yet we live less long. We have the best healthcare in the world if you're in the top 10%, but the bottom 90% get fairly mediocre healthcare that is exceptionally expensive. This was where AI, this is the first big carcass that AI is going to start to feed on, is the most disruptable industry in the world, and that is an industry that is 17% of the largest economy in the world with a very poor underlying product. And AI is going to be the fist of stone coming for the mother of all chins, and that is US healthcare.
Okay, so he knocks on healthcare. I'm in the life insurance business. I can attest to the fact that yes, we definitely have major issues that just aren't being addressed, or at least in an effective way. Results aren't looking good for whatever it is have been recommended. But
listen,
I just want to say one point. I just want to say one point. He's talking about the healthcare industry here. What I'm saying is, okay, if that's happening there and he thinks AI is gonna help, like, all right, so what other industries are gonna be messed up and somebody's gonna be leveraging these technologies or looking for opportunities or needing bodies to help implement ideas that somebody else who already knows this stuff has, and just needs someone who's willing to learn and go deeper on this stuff. So I just thought that was interesting about healthcare being the obvious one. I don't know how many veterans get into healthcare, but it's got to be parallel.
We had a few of our members, right, even here locally in the Hampton Roads area, transition, right? We've got a couple that headed over to Centera. Centera is a big, healthcare, and again, a lot of our members mature and they're thinking, they're going, Mike, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a nurse, I don't know anything about shoving a needle in anybody's arm. And I'm like, whoa. I said, listen, you're a little bit your naiveness, right? I mean, those are big companies, man. They need process improvement, quality people. They need a ton of people, infrastructure, facilities management. They need people that don't know, they've got enough doctors and nurses, right? They need people to run the business, if you will, right? There's opportunities in a lot of those organizations. Not trying to sell it, but I'm just creating awareness. But yeah, this technology, Scott, it's amazing. Let me just share one just quick example. I was working with an individual yesterday, just helping out. We do, I call it some pro bono work, right? And so this individual is a Virginia Beach, school teacher, and is getting ready to go to Booz Allen, is pursuing a program management role at Booz Allen. And working him through a resume and just all the, machinations about how do you write, hey, I'm a Virginia Beach school teacher, what's a role and responsibility look like? And he was kind of struggling with it, wasn't quite reading the way we wanted it to. And so I literally went to ChatGPT and I typed in, can you help me write role and responsibility for a school teacher? And ChatGPT comes back and says, yes, I can. Can you tell me a little bit about the district, state, and everything? And I'm like, yes, this person is K through 5, city of Virginia Beach, state of Virginia, certified, blah, blah, blah. Hit enter, and out comes this. And I asked it for 2 to 3 sentences, and out comes this position description. This is what your role and responsibility is. And I sent it to the person. He goes, oh my God. He goes, yeah, that's exactly what I do. And I'm like, I don't want to tell you and try to, take credit for this. I said, this is the power of these tools. But I caution everybody, when you go to ChatGPT and you get a product out, man, you've got to read it. You got to screen it. Hey, does this still hold water, right? Is this still about me? But think about that, Scott. I mean, this is just, this is the answer bot, right? You put it in, you ask a question, and it does it for you, and it comes right back. And
one way to use it. Yeah, another way to use it in a scenario like that during a job search would be to ask it, hey, I'm looking at this industry and this company. What are some use case scenarios where AI might be helpful to them that I could potentially talk about in the
Absolutely.
job interview. And
Absolutely.
okay.
In
So,
fact, we've got so many examples,
right.
in fact, one you and I talked about, if members are now researching what companies are available in a specific area. In fact, that's a very common question we get. Hey, Mike, I'm about ready to retire. I'm planning to move to Providence or Boston, and that's where I'm going to go. But I really don't know what companies are available in the area. Well, we used to go to LinkedIn, right? We used to, you can go in there and type the industry in the search bar, and then you can hit the companies tab, and then you can narrow the companies down. Hey, well, I'm interested in defense industry. Well, and specifically, air and space defense industries located in this area. Companies that have 1,000 to 5,000 employees. There's a lot of way you can filter this down, and you can get your list. And the other day I was just thinking, wow, that's one way to do this, an approach. But I go, okay, I've got this whittled down list from LinkedIn. I wonder if I just went into ChatGPT and just said, can you list the top 10 air and space defense industry companies within the Boston, Massachusetts area? Enter. And it says, yes, I can. Here they are. And I just went, what in the world? And I looked at these lists, and then they're not identical, right? But there is enough commonality and overlap. The point is, for members, it's a usable product, right? To help you research what potential options are available in a specific area. And that's something that a lot of members struggle with. Hey, Mike, I'm going to be moving to Denver, Colorado, but I don't know what companies are in Denver, Colorado. How do we do this? Well, here's another tool to help you understand what's available. It's just amazing tech, right? And it's almost too easy, right? If you will. I don't want members to think that this is the 100%, end all answer, but at the same time, I want them to understand that this is absolutely a meaningful, effective tool to use. And so if you're out there, if you're struggling, if you've never even opened up a ChatGPT account, you don't need to get the paid service, right? You can get a free service. I absolutely encourage you to open it up and to begin interfacing with this and understand the power of that tech that's available.
I mean, all it is it's just a graphic calculator. Do you remember getting a graphic calculator in college?
Yeah.
And you're like, what the heck is this thing? Oh, it's going to solve all my problems for me. It's like, no, you got to do the math. So
exactly. Right. Yeah, you got to do the math too.
Let's see what else he's got to say, and then we can probably call it a day.
People often say on stages like this that data is the new oil. No, it's not. We're drowning in oil. There is oil everywhere. Data is not the rare asset here. What is the rare asset is what to do with all this data. What are the insights? What's actionable from all this data? And this is the power of AI. If you think about Lidl or Aldi or Walmart, it's massive selection. That's search. But if you think about specialty retail, whether it's Hugo Boss or whether it's Williams-Sonoma, what they're essentially saying is, we have better taste than you. And so we're not going to give you every suit. We're going to give you the 2 or 3 best suits because we have better taste than you. That is what AI is. AI is not 5,500 results in 0.55 seconds. It's we're going to do our best to give you the best, or we're going to attempt to give you the merchandise the best result. It is the specialty retail of technology. There's going to be room for both. Google or search will be Walmart, and specialty retail will be AI. It's going to attempt to say, we have better taste than you. We'll give you the one best answer. If you want to build $1 trillion company, effectively, you have to build a time machine. At the end of the day, the core value proposition of all of these things is they're a time machine. If you only let your kids watch Netflix, they save 11 days a year in commercials. If you only use Amazon Prime or Amazon Grocery, you spend 6 days less a year in a grocery store. It's effectively a time machine. We all want time back. Think about how much time search has saved everybody every day. AI is the same thing, right? The time to design a microprocessor has been cut by almost 80 or 90%. You can write emails and documents much faster, 40% faster, just within 24 months. By the way, AI is not going to take your job. Somebody who understands AI is going to take your job. Just get good at it. If you didn't want to learn computers
It's that
in the
easy.
80s or 90s, it meant eventually you weren't as skilled as the person next to you. If you didn't want to learn Microsoft Office, just learn AI. No machine is going to show up in the short term, at least, and take your job. But some young person who really understands this is going to show up and, quite frankly, just add more value for less money unless you understand AI as well. So productivity is starting to pick back up. Unfortunately, the same is not true in Europe. I don't exactly understand.
That's the main shtick of what I wanted to get out today. But
thanks for putting
anyways,
that together.
we're not the experts.
Yeah, that's awesome. No, I love it.
No. I just know it's coming up more and more. I think all we can do here on this show is just keep leaning into it. Think of use cases. Like if anybody knows any specific situations where companies are implementing it, where they'd like to come on and talk to us about it. We're obviously not the experts. We're just dabbling in it ourselves, but we're going to use it because it's efficient. It's helping me and my business. I know it's helping Mike. Educate his members. As well. So listen, ultimately, Scott, I would rather be back to the handshakes only mode. I want to go back and live like the Amish where I grew up. I used to think it was crazy how the Amish live. Now I want to go be Amish.
Yeah, no, it's and listen, I still in my heart of hearts think that at least in the job seeker role, right, and the relationship that our members experience with companies that they're pursuing, right, in career progression or their transition, right, this is going to drive ultimately, I believe, that need for more interaction. We may not be there yet, but I think at the end of the day, when everybody steps back and goes, oh my gosh, your bot is battling my bot and some bot is picking, and we're gonna be forced to come back to the human interaction thing. So don't give up. For anybody listening, if you're stepping into transition, don't get rid of your networking skills. Don't push that aside, right? That is still the single most important thing that you can do to find your next success. But if you do not have a ChatGPT account, get one today and start to understand and educate yourself of the power of that tool. If you are writing your resume and you have not stepped into the world of SkillSyncer or JobScan or Grammarly.com, these AI-based tools that are going to help you align and target your resume accordingly to a specific position description, open those. They're free services. They all offer a free service. If you want to pay for a service and get a little bit increase in capability, you can do that. It's a nominal fee. Again, we're not advertising members to go out and have paid for subscriptions. I'm saying jump into the free service and understand how to use these tools that are available, that are changing the landscape. Okay. And remember, you are the product. These are the tools that people are using to find you, right?
Yeah. They're for the things that we're hesitant about. I don't know what I want to do, what I'm looking for, where to start looking, how to write the resume. It can be an executive assistant. If you treat it as simply an executive assistant or a coach, then it's just feedback. It's just efficiency and confidence building. Like, I don't know how to write this thing. Let me see what this says. Oh, well, okay. Is that correct? Did it come from my language and just was edited by an editor? Like when, that's all it is. It's an editing
simple. Something as simple as, all military members going, well, hey, this is my resume and it sounds very military. Well, if you take it short section by short section and you just go to ChatGPT and say, hey, can you make this sound more corporate? And it's going to give you something that's going to sound a little more corporate. Now, I still encourage you have to go in and edit it. You got to read it and make sure it makes sense. But it's a tool. Right, it's available for you to do this, right?
I do fear, ultimately, the way you put it. If it's just going to be AI talking to AI at some point, then the resume will no longer exist. At some point,
at some point it becomes less valuable, right?
And the fact that's kind of technically already, it's simply the resume is just a current requirement. For the process, but we say 85% of jobs go from knowing someone on the inside anyways. So, how much more, is it really kind of like having the diploma? You got to have something there, but it's got to mean something. So, anyways, we're looking to learn more, try to stay ahead, and be useful. But for those listening, let us know.
Yeah, send us your thoughts, send us your ideas, concerns, whatever you got, right? But
Cool.
we're going to keep leaning into this, Scott. I think it's important, and our members have got to understand the changing landscape with this new tech that's out there. So,
yeah, man. All right. Well, Memorial Day is coming up. I'm heading to Denver for another Bunker Labs event
great.
next. So I'll be there Wednesday, but I think I
Okay.
should be still available, assuming I'll be up early.
Well, let me throw this out, right? So for our members out there, our next cohort is next Wednesday, as a matter of fact. So that's the 29th.
Okay.
And so we will be, we're being hosted again by Booz Allen in their Norfolk corporate office. So we're excited about that. We've got a good group, a good lunch roundtable. We're going to join, as I'm looking over my shoulder here, Roy DeCoster, Randy Stearns, JJ Cummings will be joining us out there. We might get a chance to see Tony Moore, one of the senior directors there at Booz, to join us as well too. And co-hosting with me will be Steve Weeman and Todd Flannery for the day. So we've got a great group there. We got a great lunch roundtable set up, and we're excited about that, right? So if you're thinking about registering for one of our career progression cohorts, listen, I cannot emphasize enough, you guys, you've got to register in advance. Right now, we do not have an open seat between today and October 30th, right? And even our December cohort at the end of this year is already taking registrations, right? So lean into this, think ahead, get your foot in the door early because availability, it just goes quickly, right? Just goes quickly. So, which is a good thing, right? So.
Awesome. Well, great, Mike. Well, congratulations on getting full up. We're gonna have to figure out how to solve that problem somehow one day.
But we have to open up more opportunities. So
what we are doing, anyways. That's why we're doing this show, to at least try to fill that gap, as we can, and build from there. But all right, man. Well, then we won't do one next week because you're going to be doing your cohort anyways. So we will see everybody in 2 weeks. Happy Memorial Day.
Yeah, great. Be safe.